we're live.
It's kind of hot in UCLA right now. Pretty hot out there, especially for these boys that are from the north. You guys know what I'm talking about. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in until the point with
Yep.
and the king. You guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe, click like. You guys can find us on all social media platforms. Twitter, to the point. Instagram, to the point. Facebook, to the point. YouTube, to the point, which is where I hope you're watching us right now. And if you're not, you're bootlegging and you owe us some money. Thank you guys for all your support out there. Thank you guys for enjoying our great guests that come on the show, especially some of our more frequent guests, such as the one and only the coach, Tim Roache. How are you doing today, my friend?
Doing good, man. You guys good?
Good, yeah.
Little hot in the city today, bro.
A little hot, yeah.
It's a little hot. Now, guys, let's just get into this. For you guys out there, I'm sure you guys don't have that much time to spend and waste on us. So, but thank you for your time, though. So, the Raptors did sign a developmental coach, and he is notorious and infamous for having runs in the off season, especially in UCLA, since he is a UCLA Bruin alumni. The one and only Mr. Rico Hines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now there's a lot of Raptors fans out there and a lot of our fans out there who are either fair weather or hardcore that either know him or don't know him. Now, for those that don't know him, who he is and what he is, the coach Tim Roache, can you please give us some background on who he is?
A little bit just to pick up where you said he did play at UCLA in the late 90s and early 2000s. He played with our other assistant coach with the Raptors, Earl Watson. He also played with Matt Barnes and Baron Davis as well. They were two
on the We Believe team.
The We Believe team in 2007. Now, for you guys who may not remember or don't know if you're too young, the We Believe team was the team that beat the Dallas Mavericks in the first round. Now, Dallas was the number 1 ranked team in the West that year, and Golden State was ranked number 8. I believe it was the only upset with the 8 seed upsetting the 1 seed ever in the NBA. And at that time, Rico Hines was it first? Yeah. And Rico Hines was a developmental coach at that time. And I remember that team. And there was like 2 exciting teams that year where they really got up and down the floor. One was Phoenix, the other was Golden State. Golden State ran out a lineup of like Monte Ellis, Baron Davis, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, and Andres Beatriz. That team was, for that time, was small. So that was one of the first times we got to see small ball again in the NBA, and now we really kind of see it today more so. We had like 4 shooters and 1 big, and we see that a lot today as well. He was a developmental coach as well with Sacramento, I believe the last few years.
6 years.
As well. 6 years. And God bless him for being there. I'm sure it wasn't easy at the time. I think it's going to be a bit easier now in Toronto. You're going to be actually with a winning program and stuff like that. But just one more thing. These Rico Hines runs that you see, these are more or less an extension of the infamous UCLA runs of the 1980s, where basically the Showtime Lakers tried to bring in all the best players in the NBA, and they were just scrimmage. And that carried through the 80s into the 90s, where you had Kobe and Shaq showing up, Jordan, Barkley, the 2000s, Chris Paul, all these guys would show up. And now Rico Hines has kind of an extension of that. And the Toronto Raptors, the last few years, have really benefited as a team from these runs, because when you watch these runs, you probably see a lot of Raptors players, and then you see some players from other teams. It might be just 2 or 3 guys, that's it. But the Raptors bring their whole team in for the most part. And that has really built team chemistry throughout into or leading into the next season alone. So these runs have been very beneficial for their program.
Skip, thank you, Tim. Skip, with the addition of Rico Hines towards the Raptors bench and the developmental side, even though like the Raptors, they will boast they do a lot for developing players. What do you think Rico Hines brings to the table, man. Like, you and I played poker a couple times. We played some pool. Like, what does he bring to the table when it comes to the Toronto Raptors?
Well, I'll be honest. I can't say off the top of my head what he's going to bring to the table during the regular season. I don't know too much about him. I was very educated by what Tim just went through just there. But I think the one thing right now is we're seeing these runs, right? We're seeing how he operates in these runs, how he has his own sort of independent coach, separate from the NBA roster or whatever. He has obviously worked with Pascal Siakam in the past. There was some talk about him helping Pascal to that most improved player season. But we watch these runs, and it's hard to say how much he controls them, how much he just sort of sets them up, what exactly is going on behind the scenes. But what we see is some really, really high-level basketball players coming together. And like Tim just said, if you watch these runs, the Raptors' whole team is there. I think I counted the players. I think I saw everybody on the roster except for Otto Porter Jr. and Juancho Hernan-Gomez. I think those are the only two roster players who weren't there for the Raptors. I might be missing one or two others, but you saw Malachi Flynn, you saw Delano Banton, you saw G.J. Wilson, you saw Thaddeus Young, you saw Pascal Siakam, you saw Gary Trent, you saw all these guys here. It was almost like, what's that?
You saw Colico.
Was Colico there? I actually don't remember if he was there. But yes, regardless. You saw almost everybody on the roster, and it almost felt like we were watching an open Raptors practice at times. Because you're sitting there and you're seeing, all right, this team has 4 Raptors on it. This team has 2 Raptors on it, plus James Harden. Or plus, Thomas Bryant or whoever, Montrezl Harrell. By the way, Montrezl Harrell, you want to speak about hot in August. I mean, this guy's wearing a toque. Wearing a toque in August in Los Angeles? Like, I don't understand. Anyway, that's just me. I'm getting off topic a little bit, but
yeah, you're getting a little off the rails, my man. So, do you see him having a major impact on the Toronto Raptors organization?
Well, what I was just going to say is, I think these runs, whether they're NBA caliber or not, I mean, obviously they're not playing high level defense. They're not at full speed. But you see the Raptors team coming together. You see them playing together. You see even on these pickup games, you'll see Raptors starters be on the same team, finding each other for outlets. Like, this has to build chemistry. This has to carry over into the regular season. And if that's all we take away from this, then it's great to bring Rico Hines in, because he's obviously going to be a positive influence on building team chemistry and creating the best version of this Raptors team as they grow and develop moving forward. And we haven't even talked about Scotty Barnes yet, which is, yeah. I'll let you take that away.
Good thing, okay? Don't jump the gun. Yeah. Now, let me tell you something. Let me tell you my take on Rico Hines. The addition of him probably has to be the best addition to any organization in 2022. That might be controversial for some of y'all out there, but when you look at this young Raptors squad and how hungry they are, how much they're working, how much they're willing to go to that gym in UCLA and work with Rico Hines and understand and make their game better. Like, we saw it, man. We saw it. You guys could go out there on the clips and check it out. Like, Scotty Barnes locked down James Harden. He locked them. For all of you Gen Zs out there saying James Harden is great. Nah, Scotty Barnes completely eliminated him. You saw Pascal. You saw a lot of cool things that they were out there. Fred VanVleet was on everybody's ass. He's like, if you're not out here, you're not really playing. Just to paraphrase. That's not a direct quote. But the passion that these guys have now to work under Rico Hines has, like you just said just now about Skip, about chemistry, which I was saying on the last few episodes about the Raptors chemistry. The development coach, I think you touched on that one about like certain players. Like you got the, like you said it here on the show first. Christian Colico coming to Toronto. You said it here first, my man. Give you a lot of props on that one. Like him refining Colico to get him NBA level. Malachi Flynn getting up to that level. Freddie pushing forward. OG, Chris Boucher, Pascal with his past with Rico Hines. You know, now Scotty. I don't know if you guys have seen those pictures, but Scotty standing right behind him, just taking it all in, just listening, right? Wanting to be the best player he can be. And the Raptors want to be the best players they can be, and they want to be the best team they can be. Now, guys, speaking of those players right now, wait, just a side note. You know, Rico Hines is 2 years older than me. Look at my beard. Look how nice, no grays. Compared to him, he looks like he's 85 years old. But with him developing these young core Raptors, and you know we're going to see these Raptors do well in the next couple of years. Come on, nobody can deny that. Are there any specific players that you guys would like to mention that have a relationship with Rico Hines currently? That actually can get better because they respect him that much.
I certainly hope the whole team has like a tremendous amount of respect for him. What bit that I've watched of the Rico Hines runs, like, he's got a commanding presence, and some coaches don't. And I've been around some who don't. I've been around some that do. And those coaches that have this command about them really get the respect of players. And he used to play as well. And I'm sure there's an element that goes into that if you're a player. We all know about the relationship with him and Pascal Siakam. Mm-hmm. I saw a video where Rico Hines mentioned the game after the Raptors lost to Cleveland, and this is the year before Kawhi showed up. They just got swept by Cleveland. Siakam got on a flight to Los Angeles to go start working out with him. And Rico Hines has said on multiple occasions, he's the hardest working guy in the gym. You want that on your team. And Masai said, like, he's a warrior. I want to go to battle with him. And I'm just so impressed with all that Pascal Siakam's gone through over the last 12 to 16 months. Just how he has responded. He just responded with hard work. Not many guys can come back from that.
To answer your question, Brian, I'm going to jump in. I think the obvious one, I think this is all over social media, is Scotty, right? I mean, if Scotty can take that next step based on his development, obviously a lot of that's going to be up to him, working on his own jump shot, working on his handle. We saw an improved handle in these runs, working on just getting bulkier, stronger, more physically commanding on the court. He's the one guy who you sort of look at in these runs and you're like, can he hit the next level? But that's regardless of whether it's Rico Hines, whether it's his own personal trainer, whoever is helping him. He's the one guy who, through this whole summer, he needs to get better. He needs to make those leaps to become that next level player. Obviously, everyone else out there, I mean, I'll be honest, guys like Thaddeus Young, OG, you kind of know what they are. It's great that they're in shape. It's great that they're playing well. But this is just kind of practice time for them. The guy that needs to take that next level is definitely Scotty.
I've also noticed. Oh, go for it.
Go on, Tim.
I've noticed with Scotty, because more of the physical characteristics now. See how much bigger he is in the chest and his upper body and his arms too. Mm-hmm. Now, when he goes into the paint, he's going to need the extra muscle to absorb the contact that he's going to receive. And already
looking at him.
Yeah, he's already a terrific athlete. Now put on 10 to 12 pounds of muscle. So he's going to be in a much better position this year going into the paint with all the trees, more or less, and being able to absorb that contact because of the extra muscle that he's added.
But as much as that's been a big topic of conversation, I think it was ball handling and shooting that he has to work on most this offseason. And those are the two things that I think we've seen a little bit of improvement there. So we'll see if that carries through.
Well, you guys just said a lot of positivity towards Raptors players and Rico Hines. So based on what you guys have just said, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We might beat this horse really dead. Okay, it might turn into glue. Okay, but because the Raptors are so well kept with these players and the chemistry and their togetherness, and under Rico Hines and showing up and showing out this past summer, not taking really any days off, do we really need Kevin Durant here? Why are the Raptors still front runners for him? Do we really need him?
Tim, I'll let you take that.
Oh, okay. If you asked me this 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, I would have been yes in a heartbeat. Because it's Kevin Durant. He's generational. We haven't seen a scorer in the NBA with his physical characteristics. I mean, like being 6'11", being able to score anywhere he wants to on the court. He's one of the 12 to 15 greatest players of all time, who's still in the prime of his career. Once it came out about how he wants, his ultimatum, Steve Nash fired, Sean Marks fired, I've had a bit of a change of tune that because that's just going to kill team chemistry. It just will in the NBA. The player itself, because Kevin Durant can fit on any team in the NBA and make them better. But after if what's come out is true, I'm having second thoughts about the trade now. And you know what you have in terms of team chemistry, what you have already. Maybe you run it back. Maybe you let the team grow and build. Boston has done that with Brown and Tatum. Miami has done it with Jimmy Butler and Bam and Tyler Hero. It's what the NBA should be about now, not just trying to get all the stars on one team. Grow organically. Yes, grow organically. Like Golden State, not the KD aspect, but Steph and Clay and Draymond and Sean Livingston for a while. Grow organically, because that's where the success has been the last few years.
Skip?
Okay,
man. Come on.
I appreciate all that. I have my doubts myself, but let me just put it to you this way. Say the trade is Trent Jr., Anunoby, and a bunch of picks, which is the one that Bobby Marks proposed the other day, the same one that we proposed on our show. Okay. Starting lineup, Kevin Durant, Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, after taking another leap, presumably, Precious Achiuwa, with Fred VanVleet to space the floor. Tell me that team can't win a title. That's a title contender right there.
It depends on who's coming off your bench.
Well, you got a little bit. You still got some depth off the bench. Your bench isn't going to be amazing, but you got enough depth off the bench to augment that. That team can win a title. So if your goal is to win a title, ultimately you have to consider it. That said, I do have concerns about everything you just said. I do have concerns about how Kevin Durant is going to affect team chemistry. Because he's always kind of, everywhere he goes, he's a bit of a malcontent. Even when he's playing well, he's sort of, it kind of seems like he's the outsider in the room a lot of the time. He's always going at people on Twitter. Now he's got the ultimatum holding up the entire Nets franchise. I mean, this is not, if we're talking about building team chemistry, we're talking about a united front. This is not a player that brings that to mind.
You think Tsai would let that shit slide?
That's the question.
That is the question.
The question.
And again, if he's going to come in here and he's going to be pissed off that we don't win the title this first year, someone gets hurt and he asks for another trade, then you're talking about pennies on the dollar. That's not a good situation for anybody. There's also, this is another aspect of the consideration here, is there's also 33-year-old player coming into a young team, a team that's still growing, still ready to reach that next level organically. Suddenly you bring in a guy who has a history of Achilles injuries, a guy who might be on the downslope of his career. One more injury to KD, and this whole thing goes sideways. And you're like, man, we shouldn't have even done that trade. Because
a guy who was booed and laughed at during the final.
Well, I mean, that's a whole other thing. That's another sensitivity aspect, where a sensitivity might come out. But I would be concerned about upsetting team chemistry. I would absolutely be concerned about that. I would be concerned about lots of things, injuries. I would even be concerned with it's a 4-year deal and he'll be like 37 by the end of it, and that's really old for a basketball player. But dude, that starting lineup I just rolled out there, that could beat anybody in the East.
Here's the thing with KD though. Everywhere he's gone, he lasts like a couple. Besides OKC, he lasts like 2-3 years. He's gone. You have him for 4 years. So if we were to acquire him, I'm saying we got him for 2 years. There's your window. You got a 2-year window to compete for a championship.
Sure.
And if I'm Brooklyn,
is it worth it?
Yeah, is it worth it? But also, if I'm Brooklyn and I'm looking at, well, you're going to offer me OG Anunoby, Gary Trent, and 4 picks and Thad Young, I'm not doing that. That's not enough for KD. the deal on the table, either the Boston deal with Jaylen Brown in pieces or New Orleans with Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones and all kinds of things. That's the deal that Brooklyn, if I'm Brooklyn, I'm looking at because I think they can offer
Brooklyn
more.
should take the Jaylen Brown deal if it's there. I think the problem is that the Jaylen Brown deal, I don't know if it comes with picks. Maybe that's what they were negotiating over.
I think it does. But also
okay, with 2 picks. One's protected, one's not.
So who are they haggling over? They're haggling over Smart? I can't remember who it was.
I think it is. But even the New Orleans, just think about New Orleans, KD and Zion on a team.
But is that a real offer though? Is that a real offer?
Zion, KD, wait, hold on.
Is that
KD
offer
and Zion? Is Zion even going to play? Is Zion even going to play?
Okay.
He's ready.
What's he going to do
Hold
from
the
the
phone.
bench?
Hold the phone for a sec. Did New Orleans make that offer? Because we heard the report that Boston made the Jaylen Brown offer. We don't even know for sure if Toronto made the OG offer.
What I read was Brooklyn asked for Ingram, Jackson Hayes, like Herb Jones, and like 4 or 5 first round picks, and they turned it down. New Orleans, not Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, this could be your window. KD could be that missing piece for you guys.
All the New Orleans stuff I've seen has just been baseless speculation. I haven't seen any actual reporting on the New Orleans trade. I've seen reporting on Boston. I've seen reporting on Toronto. I haven't seen any actual reporting on New Orleans.
I've seen reporting with Philly.
Yeah, the Philly one's coming up now, but it's just not a good trade. It just doesn't really work.
You know why it won't work? They have no draft picks. They gave them all in the Harden deal. You can forget them. Unless Brooklyn just wants players, which I doubt they do. That's not going to happen. So it's literally down to, for me personally, it's Toronto, Boston, and New Orleans. They have the best offers to Brooklyn.
Okay.
I think some people are still talking Miami, but it's getting down to that. So.
Out of your 3 teams, guys, give me a hard answer. Out of those 3 teams, Toronto, Boston, and New Orleans, where do you think he's gonna go? If he goes.
Right now, I hate to say it, but if I had to pick one, I kind of leaning Boston. I don't really see the Raptors. Well, Barnes. I mean, if Barnes wasn't on the table before, he's definitely not on the table now. Toronto's offer is what Toronto's offer is. Yep. Full stop. Period. They're going to sit there. They're going to let the market play itself. If Boston has put Jaylen Brown in a trade, then that's the trade that Brooklyn's eventually going to have to take. That's
okay.
That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, Tim, Coach, what team do you think would go at? What would be best for him? Where he's going to go? Where do you think he's going to end up?
I don't know where he's going to end up, but why I think is best for him, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a good answer.
New Orleans.
That's a very good answer.
Go there. Go play with Zion and CJ. They got something building there. Now, if it comes to Toronto, am I going to lose it?
They kind of remind me of the Hawks a couple years ago. Remember that team that came out of nowhere?
Yeah.
But New Orleans is everything I've seen has New Orleans out of the conversation now. Like there was a lot of gossip about them. Don't get me wrong. I haven't seen anything recently that says New Orleans still in the picture. I don't know if it's because KD doesn't want to play there. I don't know if it's because David Griffin doesn't want to meet the asking price. I don't know why. But regardless, I have not seen New Orleans in the conversation. Every article I've read has been Boston, Toronto, and either Phoenix or Miami.
And I want to be clear too. Even though I don't know if the KD trade to Toronto will happen, if it does, I'm not losing any sleep over. This is one of the top players ever in the NBA to come to Toronto, and we're not giving up Scotty. We're not giving up Pascal, and we're not giving up Fred. OG and Trent, I can see it. I could see picks for sure, and another player. Whoever that may be. But the market for Durant is declining. It's not the market that Brooklyn wants it to be. They're looking for the perfect trade. Good luck. You're not finding it until next year.
What about OG and Fred? Would you ever get there?
I just don't see Masai including Fred. I think Fred means a lot more to this franchise than, I see some of the stuff online about Fred, but I'm telling you, Fred represents a lot of what they want on a team, the leadership, the bet on yourself. Fred can shoot. You're going to need some shooting in this NBA.
I think bottom line, you need to keep Pascal and Scotty around KD. and you need some shooting. So that's Fred is the shooting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hey guys, we've just beaten this horse to the death. Anybody got any glue?
Yeah, I know. We already covered this a month ago, but that was before the ultimatum. We gotta circle back here.
This is the trending topic in the NBA. Yeah, it really is. I know. I get that you guys have to, but it is. And when a star like KD, who you could say he's the best player in the world, you could say he's top 3 in the world. This does not come up very often. Although in the NBA in the last 10 years, it really has been. It's not like the NBA of the 90s where basically whoever drafted you, that's basically where you stayed.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. I'll throw in a dark horse here on the teams. I've said it before, and I've said it right here for you guys. The Knicks. That's a dark horse right there.
I don't think it's happening. If it was happening, someone would have talked about it by now.
Or the Orlando Magic. All right? Unless they get rid of Sean Martin.
He's not going to Orlando. Are you kidding? He's not going to Orlando in a million years.
They have enough to provide to make the deal enticing. Toronto, let's face it. Toronto's not going to get Durant. Guys, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Toronto's not getting Durant. It's possible, but realistically...
Well, then the damn rumors better need to go away if it's not happening.
What Brooklyn wants, they're not going to get from Toronto.
If Toronto was sure they weren't getting Durant, they would have signed Koloko to a contract by now. Because there's a little wrinkle in his contract structure where it depends on if they make the trade, whether they give him like X amount of dollars versus the minimum salary. They're still waiting a little bit on the Durant sweepstakes to play out. So I think they do have an offer on the table, one way or the other.
You know what? Let's see how this all plays out. And when it happens, guys, we will be here for you. Tim, you have any last things to say?
There's a reason I think New Orleans has a very good chance of getting him. Why Brooklyn would rather deal with them than with Toronto and Boston. What does Toronto, Boston, and Brooklyn all have in common?
They're in the same conference.
All in the same division. So KD, it will be very...
Anymore.
Well, but those teams don't want to trade within their own division because you guys see them 4 times a year, right? So Kevin Durant, if he trades to Toronto, he's going to be pretty motivated to play Brooklyn. Even if he goes to Boston, he's going to be very motivated to play Brooklyn every time. So that's why I think New Orleans might be a place where the management of Brooklyn is looking to send him to. Send him to the Western Conference. It's like the Spurs did with Kawhi. Let's send Kawhi to Canada, of all places. So we really don't only see him once a year. And
get your passport, Kawhi! You're going somewhere!
Yeah.
Okay, guys. We're running short on time right here. This has been a good conversation. I'm sorry to you guys out there. We have beaten the Kevin Durant stuff to death, but it's still relevant, and people are still thinking and still wondering what can happen. Golden State! We won't even touch upon that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for all your support. Tim, thank you for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. You know, you're always welcome. You're part of the To The Point family. We will see you guys very soon. Skip and I are working on something where you guys would be able to see us and meet us in person, right? Maybe even get some gear or something. We're working on something for you guys, just for you guys out there, you Toronto Raptors fans. We hope you guys enjoy Rico Hines and what Scotty has been doing and other players have been doing this offseason. I hope it gives you some hope for the rest of the season because, let's face it, in a couple of years, these guys are going to be contenders. Am I right? Just give me a yes or no.
Yes.
I'm going to be a contender.
There we go. See, you guys heard it here. Okay. Oh, so I guess there's nothing left to do. You guys can find Simon at Dougie J's. It's baseball season, and he's a little iffy. You guys can buy the book. This is the bootleg. I'll sell it to you for $2 if you want it. It's the original one. I'll get it autographed for you. You guys know where to find Coach Tim Roache, the Coach Roache on Twitter. You guys can get at him if you guys want to learn X's and O's and actually learn how the game is played. You guys can get at me at King Hussein on all social media platforms. So, on behalf of the 3 of us guys, this has been fun, as usual. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.